Hey, good evening and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube Daily Double. Today, a nightly double. It's already Motzei Shabbos over here in Eretz Yisrael. Eiruvin, Perek Daled, Mishnah Chet and Tet. Mishnah Chet states, Imeino Makir, Osheino Baki Bahalacha, Amar Shvisasi Mkomi, Zachalo Makomo Alpaim Amal Ruach. Right, in the previous Mishnah we talked about, he sees a tree or he sees a fence, and he says, I want my shvisa, I want my place of residence for Shabbos to be under that tree or fence. So he gets that if he says it. Here, he doesn't see the tree, he doesn't see a fence, or he doesn't know that he could make his residence at the tree or the fence. So he just says, I'm shoves where I am, even without bread. So he has al-paima, we paskin, not like the Rabban, you get 2,000 amos. So what type of 2,000 amos do you get? Agulos, divrei, or Rabbi Chanina ben Antegna. Rabbi Chanina ben Antegna says you get a circle, right? A circle around you, 2,000 amos in each direction, right? Which would basically make sense. They learn that we learn directly from the 2,000 amos that the Levium got, the Ari Levium. They got 2,000 amos outside for a migrash, for a place for the animals to feed, and also an open space over there. And there, the Gemara learned it was like a square. Now, if it's a square, you have, to the four sides from where you are, if you go straight, so you have 2,000 amos. But if you go diagonally to the corners of the square, you get more than 2,000 amos. So, Machlokes is, we say the same thing by Ari Levim, also here by Tchumen or not. So according to the Rabbanan, yes. According to Chanina and Tivgas, no, it's a circle. You get whichever direction you go. You don't go to the diagonal, you only get 2,000 amos. We pass in the Chamim, you get the extra space if you go to the corners. Tet, V'zuhi she'amru. Ha'ani ma'ari baraglov. Amar meir anu ayin lanu ela ani. Mishnah Tet is a fundamental machlokas very Tchumen. Meir says these previous Mishnayos which say that you get 2,000 amos, right? You can use the tree. You could say Mishnah Ches, where I am, you get 2,000 amos. Normally, Eiruvin Tchumen, when you hear about it, you take bread and you put it somewhere. So Meir says yes, the real way of being Kona Shvisa, establishing your residence in a place. If you live in a city, you want to make it an Eiruvin Tchumen, you want to go another 2,000 amos to one direction, you have to put bread there. That's the real way of doing it. Here, you're on the road, you have no bread, or you're a poor person, right, who doesn't have bread, doesn't own the amount of food that you need. You have to put a substantial amount of food for 2 meals to make Eiruvin Tchumen. So if you don't have the food, or you're on the derech, right, and you have no way of getting the food, so then there was a kula, and they said, in this case, you could use a tree, or you could use your place, your maraglav, where your feet are, to establish your residence and get 2,000 amos. Rabbi Yehuda argues, echad ani ve'echad asher. You could always use your feet. Lo amru ma'arvin b'pas ala hakel asher shal yetei v'arag baraglav. It's a kula. Really, the ikar shvisa is where you are, where your feet is. We'll talk more about this in Iyam Mitzion, about whether the ikar makom of a person, his shvisa, his resting on Shabbos, is where he eats or where he sleeps. Where his residence is, where his feet are, is basically where he sleeps. So, Rabbi Yehuda says really it's always where your feet are, where you sleep. Right? They made a kula. They said a rich person who has the food, right? He shouldn't have to go to the border of a city and walk there and be there on the onset of Shabbos. That's what Ben Hashmashos establishes your residence on Friday night. So if it's just food, he can send a shliach, he can send his agent, he can send his butler to go put it over there. So there's a kula over there. They allowed him for an ashir, but really the ikar way of establishing your shvisa is where you are, where your feet are. We'll talk more about this machlokes in Iyam Mitzion, discuss this fundamental machlokes Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda. We passing like Rabbi Yehuda. Passing like Rabbi Yehuda, you could always use the ragla. That's the ikar way of viewing Eiruvin Tchumen. We'll explain the machlokes Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda Iyam Mitzion coming up next.